trust him.
Tonight we begin the first part of a special assignment tracing the life of a gun and what a criminal used it for at 5:30 on 11 News. Good afternoon, I'm Eric Singer. Also on 11 News, we'll have the latest from court in the trial of a teenager accused of killing his Woodland Park parents. And you'll meet some genuine Hollywood stars. We'll tell you why they're here in southern Colorado. Now this.
What if you had sex with a man and later found out that man was a woman?
You had sex with him and didn't know it was a woman?
No, I did not.
When you had sex with me, did I satisfy you as a man?
Yes, you did.
Next, Sally Jesse Raphael.
Weekday mornings at 9 here on TV 11.
See you at 5:30 for 11 News.
Well, you were married to him for 16 years. It was a prison. He was abusive, verbally and physically. You finally decided to kick him out of the house, and he hired somebody to murder you.
That's right.
Your children join you here, Stephen, 14, and Kathleen, 12. Both have been in therapy, have they not?
Yes.
And they have their therapist's permission to be with you today.
Yes.
You were married at age 22.
That's right.
And he looked, for all the world, like a real good guy.
Dated him for a year, married him, and he was my Prince Charming.
Your folks like him?
No.
What'd they know that you...
My mother told me to listen.
Yeah. So, well, tell us,
All right. I met him. He was wonderful. He was charming, and he swept me off my feet, and we got married a year after I met him. My parents weren't for it. His parents really weren't either. We decided we could do it any way that it would work. That
Young
everybody
people in love.
Right. You
right.
can't talk to them.
Right.
So we got married, and about 2 weeks after we got married, a whole different side of him appeared, and it was like a split personality, and he hit me for the first time.
With an open hand, closed fist? You don't forget that?
Open hand.
On the face?
On the face. And you could look at me the next day, and on one side it looked okay, the other side it was like Dracula's wife.
Do you remember the grievance?
No, it didn't really matter. I crossed him. You don't cross him.
And you were raised in a father knows best environment, I guess, huh?
Definitely. I have, my parents just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. I come from the kind of family where when you get married, you make a commitment. You make it work if you can.
Yeah. This is often misunderstood by many people in our audience. Why did you stay? Why did you stay? And they have to understand that this is a lifetime of programming, and it's not that easy to push that independent button, is it?
No. Everybody was against it. I wanted to make it work. I thought I could. I was 22. I thought I could do anything.
Tell me about feeling like a prisoner. How did that...
well, when someone takes away your self-esteem, when someone beats you down physically and mentally, and I must say the mental abuse to me is worse, far worse than the physical abuse. You know, the bruises
no good,
heal.
You're this, you're that, lot of negative...
Oh, definitely, a lot of emotional abuse. For the children as well.
And now, you said when he hit you, you could see the black and blue the next day.
Right.
And that was not the only time he hit you.
Oh, no. He would hit and hurt, and then he would always say he was sorry and that it would never happen again.
What'd you do with Stephen and Kathleen during all this time? You must have...
Well, I was married 10 years before I had Stephen and Kathleen. I'm an old mother having young children.
But did they... Well, then how much, then, of this kind of very destructive scenery were they front row...
Always, always. And then when they were about 2 and 4, and it was really bad, and he was really volatile and getting worse, he would go after them, and I would always intercede, and then I would get it worse.
You finally kicked him out of the house. How do you do that?
Well, I just packed my bags. Oh, that's something else. I always wanted things to be better. I always hoped. I have always a positive attitude. I always think it'll be better. I can make it work. And through those 16 years, I tried. After the end of 16 years, he almost choked me to death, and I knew then if I didn't survive, who would take care of the children? I filed for divorce and had never told my parents, anyone. I covered up everything very well for 16 years. And I moved, I took them to Oklahoma with my parents, and that's when I called and told him to move out, that I wasn't coming back if he didn't move out. It wasn't easy to get him out.
You called from Oklahoma back to your residence.
In Dallas.
Suburban Dallas, I think.
Right.
What was the suburb?
It's University Park.
University Park. And he said, honey, come home, I love you, I'm sorry, or what?
Did he? Yeah, he begged, he did all that. He could cry, he could do anything. But once he got his way, it was always back to the same thing.
Right.
He never changed.
Now, when did you find out that he hired somebody to kill you?
I filed for divorce in '85, and we fought through the horrible divorce. He kept it going. He would not give me a divorce. You have to understand, with Robert, we were property, and you don't take anything away from Robert. And he can dispose of it as he sees fit, which he tried to do, but you don't take anything away from him. And we were trying to get custody worked out and a divorce finalized in it for a year and a half. And finally, after a year and a half, he saw that he wasn't beating me down, that I wasn't going to give in, and so he took a contract out to have me killed along with my parents.
Why would he want to kill your folks?
Well, I guess just so that he could have the final win in his mind, that he would win the so-called prize.
And you found out about this how?
A man came to, all right, Robert hired an Robert hired a man to kill me. He stalked me for 9 months, and it's just a miracle that I'm not dead. That's what everybody says. I should be dead. He decided for some reason, after 9 months of stalking me and taking Robert's money, that he did not want to do the job, so he subcontracted it out to another man. Now, this man said...
He was going to pay a guy to knock you off.
That's right, and not tell Robert. He was afraid of Robert as well, because he'd been taking his money.
Yeah.
So he...
let me just say, Joe Masterson, can you hear me?
Yeah, Phil.
Very good. Mr. Masterson, you are an FBI investigator.
Retired.
You're retired, right.
Right.
But you were the Yeah, you know Joe.
Yes.
Okay.
He retired right after
Okay, Joe, listen in here. We'll get to you in 1 second.
Okay.
I still don't understand how a woman finds out that her husband, husband whom she is about to divorce, has hired somebody to kill her.
Joe found out about it when the informant went to Joe and said at the FBI, I know the woman he's going to kill, and what are we going to do about it? Joe decides to do a sting operation. That's when they notify my attorney that I have a contract out on me, as well as my parents. My attorney calls me, the FBI come in, and they all tell me together.
Joe, did you know him?
Yes, I did.
Well, you were hanging around with some interesting people there when you were with the FBI.
He was a friend of a friend, I'll put it that way.
The guy walks into your office and says, there's a guy out there who wants to pay me to kill his wife.
That's right. That's right.
How much was the pay, Joe?
Initially, it was about $5,000.
It went up, though, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Do I understand it went up to $40,000?
Well, the payoff to Young, who was the original contractor, was $45,000, right?
Yeah.
But Young was only going to pay about $5,000.
Okay. You set up a sting then, is that right?
That's right.
Tell me what you did, Joe, briefly. Someday I'll have a longer show, but this is pretty important. Joe Masterson, a retired FBI guy. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Basically, what we did was Fred Zabatowski, who was, in fact, a Green Beret and a Congressional Medal of Honor winner, came to us and said he had been approached by James Young, who was a private investigator here in the Dallas area, and that he wanted him to kill a woman. So we set up the sting. Fred told Young that he couldn't do it, that he brought a guy in from out of town that would do it. Hitman Jack was an undercover FBI agent. We put them together in a motel for a first meeting, filmed, tape recorded, etc.
So you filmed the hitman meeting with Linda's husband?
Well, that was subsequent to that.
I see. The first meeting you filmed was the hitman meeting with the guy who contracted
Jack.
for him.
Right.
So we got two would-be hitmen meeting to talk about the murder of Linda.
Right.
And you filmed it.
Right.
But you still don't have enough to nail Linda's husband.
No. Then we had Young, who had been hired by Robert Edelman to kill Linda, meet with Edelman to identify a photograph that we had taken of Linda, to identify her as the subject of the hit.
But first you took Linda to an undisclosed location about a couple hours outside of Dallas. Is that right?
We picked her up and more or less put her away at a lake resort type place for about 5-6 days, right? Everyone thought she was missing and presumed dead.
And that's the way you wanted it.
Right. I had her car located in Oklahoma, and with blood found on it, and that gave the FBI jurisdiction to enter the case to assist the local police on the missing persons.
But you're the one that set up the car and the bloodstains.
Right. In essence, it never left Dallas, but a teletype was sent by the Oklahoma authorities who are cooperating with us.
Right.
To the University Park Police Department, who cooperated with us.
Now, I don't mean to short-circuit your story here, Joe, but for the sake of time, we should say that the maid who worked for Linda called the police before you had a chance to reveal the scam.
That gave me a few gray hairs. That's very true.
So you're setting up this elaborate drama with the murder car and the blood in Oklahoma on the car, and you got Linda in a log cabin out in the woods somewhere because you want her husband to believe that she's dead.
That's right.
So now you got the local law enforcement on this case, and you don't want them to blow this, but you set up the guy who is supposed to have killed Linda sets up his rendezvous with her husband. Isn't this right?
Right.
At that rendezvous, the killer is supposed to show Linda's husband a picture of you.
To make sure.
To confirm that this is the woman I killed. I killed the right person.
Right. We had him under surveillance at that time so we could understand and overhear their conversation.
Yeah. Where did he meet her? Meet him in a restaurant?
Yes, at a Chinese restaurant just outside of University Park.
Yeah. And the guy was wired, I'm sure.
No, we had agents on either side of him.
Oh, I see.
As customers.
So you had live people there. You didn't need technology.
At that time, Young was not cooperating with us.
Right.
This is before Young was arrested.
Right. But in any event, when the guy met her husband and he showed the picture, did he give him any money?
No. No.
Well, why?
It was just a confirmation that this was the target, this was the person to be killed.
When did you arrest him?
We subsequently arrested him after we filed a complaint against him the following week, about a week later.
A week.
You were in hiding a week.
And they arrested Young and Robert simultaneously, and then they called and let us come back in.
Yeah.
It was the day after Young, well, about 3 days after Young was informed by our hitman that Linda was in fact dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Within 1 minute of that information, Young telephoned Robert and informed him that the divorce had been finalized.
Mm-hmm. And your husband, I don't want to call him your husband, or well, now he's your ex-husband, had been taking money out of an account during this time. Is that right?
Right.
And was it a joint account with you?
Well, I assume it was.
So it was a marriage account.
Right.
So he's taking money out of your account to pay for the guy that's going to kill you.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He piecemealed it out in cash so it couldn't be traced.
Right. This was 1987, was it not, Agent Masterson? 1987.
Right.
So you arrest this guy, and how many years did he do?
One did 7, the other did 10.
Actually, he served 5.5. He's out.
Your ex-husband is out of jail.
He got out June
That's
of
right.
'93.
Mm-hmm.
He was
5.5 years on good behavior.
He was prosecuted federally on the charge, and then he pled guilty in state court, county court.
Right.
And he parented himself.
Right. We haven't talked to Stephen and Kathleen. Can you imagine? Did you know what happened to your mother?
No. All I knew is that she wasn't there, that she was gone. And she usually was in the house. So when I called her one night, you know, because I always call her at night, she wasn't there. And so then I called one of her good friends, and she said, no, she doesn't know what she was, so she's probably at a movie. Well, I knew my mom would not go to a movie because she said she'd always be at the house when we're gone.
Right.
And so I kind of got this feeling that something was wrong, because I don't know, I always had feelings like this.
Yeah. You remember those shouting and
Oh, yeah.
the angry attitude of your father.
Oh, yeah.
Was he physically abusive to you?
Yes, he was.
Mm-hmm. You remember this as well, do you?
I remember when he used to hit Stephen sometimes, but he didn't really pick on me very much.
Mm-hmm. And you felt sorry for Stephen?
Very.
But did you see police and activity like that while your mother was missing?
No, we didn't see any. We didn't see any police or anything. What we did, we stayed with Robert. Then we went back to to where my mom was staying. And then my grandmother and grandfather were there, and my aunt, my great aunt, and 2 great aunts, I think.
Right. But did you ever worry that she was dead?
I didn't really know. I just knew that something wrong has happened, and I always felt that Robert would be behind it, because he was the only
Robert, that's how you refer to your father?
Yes, I do.
Because why?
Because I never considered him my father.
Mm-hmm. But you always felt that Robert was behind it because of the pattern of behavior that Robert had exhibited?
Yes, and he's really the only bad person, the really bad person I ever knew in my life. And of course, I would trace that to my mom's being gone.
Yeah. He lives near you now?
He lives in Dallas, yes.
Does that bother you?
Well, yes, it does, but you just gotta go on through life. You just can't sit around and...
Yeah. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Jim Palmer. Thinking about refinancing your home? Even if you've been late on some payments in the past, you can still refinance your first mortgage and get today's low rates at the Money Store. Because the Money Store looks at your total credit picture. They won't automatically disqualify you for some late payments. And you can apply by phone with no application fee. So even if you've been late on some payments, you can still refinance your first mortgage. Call the Money Store at 1-800-LOAN-YES. That's 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Room 801.
Once they were in love with butter. But cholesterol closed the door on their dreams until...
William.
May I serve you?
I can't believe it's not butter.
I Can't Believe It's Not Butter is the first spread flavored with real sweet cream buttermilk for a fresh butter taste, but without the cholesterol.
Now nothing can disturb our love.
I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. The taste you love without the cholesterol.
Where's everybody? Simple. People are bored with chicken. That's why Subway has our original turkey breast sub. It's oven-roasted turkey on fresh baked bread with all the trimmings. So if you're tired of the same old chicken, Subway's talking turkey.
The original 6-inch turkey breast sub, now just $1.99 at Subway.
This is the best part.
Summer Honda continues to bring you $55 down, $55 a month. Like this 91 Prelude, only $55 down, $55 a month.
Gun control. It may be the most volatile issue of our time. Just how effective are efforts to keep guns out of the hands of the wrong people? Join reporter Diane Kent as she tracks the life of a gun, beginning Tuesday, only on 11 News.
Yes, ma'am, you wanted to ask.
You had a commitment to your husband, but didn't you also have a commitment to your children as a mother? And isn't that more important than the commitment to your husband?
How do you mean? You mean staying so long?
Staying so long?
In an abusive relationship.
And watching your children being hurt by this relationship.
Linda.
No, when my children were babies, they were just 2 and 4 when this was going on. I never let him physically hurt them. I always interceded. When we were separated, the courts demanded he was to have 5 days and I was to have 10. 5, 10, 5, 10, and they were bounced back and forth constantly. When they were with their father, the 5 days, and I was in courts begging for them not to be sent to him, that he was dangerous, and no one would believe me, that's when he would abuse them, and I couldn't stop it.
Stephen, did you hide when your dad came home from work, or was there...
Well, yeah, I didn't really like... Well, I mean, I just got away, you know. I just didn't like make it a point to go up and, you know, give him a big hug and, you know, hang around.
You avoided him.
Because he was always in a bad mood. You never knew what would set him off. You know, I mean, he just would be a good man, then just turn around and slap you. You just never knew, so you just better stay away from him.
So you could get hit for no reason at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kathleen, you same way. Although you were not physically injured or in any way struck or physically the object of physical aggression from your dad, you avoided him, did you?
Well, yes. I really stuck with Stephen. We would just do all we could to really not...
Yeah, just be away from him.
Robert really ignored her. I mean, she just was of no importance to him whatsoever. She was a girl.
But whatever importance Stephen may have been to him was negative.
Yeah, oh, yes. and his mental torture to Kathleen was just totally ignore her.
Right. Kathleen, you were saying?
Oh, well, I was just saying I think the reason maybe he hit Stephen more was because Stephen would stand up to him, really. I would just run away and hide, I guess, in a way.
I wouldn't do that now.
No, you tried, though. You tried to assert your own...
Yeah, he was the only one who had the nerve to stand up to him.
The 5 days your mother is missing, you must have been a wreck.
Oh, yeah. I went, we had help. There's this wonderful man named Dr. Myers, and he was our psychiatrist. I didn't know this psychiatrist. Anyway, he helped us a lot. He was very nice, and he was compassionate toward us. And he was really the only one who had the nerve to stand up to Robert in the sense that Robert couldn't pay him off.
You would recognize your dad now, though, if you saw him, wouldn't you?
I guess. I don't... Yeah, I guess I'd recognize him.
It's been a couple of years since you've seen him anyway, so certainly you haven't seen him since he got out of jail.
No, but other people have saw him.
Yeah.
It's been almost 6 years since they've seen him.
Yeah. Well, it will not please you to know that you're not alone. These kinds of dramas happen all the time. And when we return, we'll meet a woman who actually shot her husband when she caught him in bed with her best friend. Believe it or not, there are similarities here. And we'll be back to talk about that in just a moment.
This isn't a small college. This is. At this college, you don't get personal attention. You do here. This isn't Blair Junior College. This is. Call Blair Junior College at 574-1082, and we'll show you the difference a small college can make.
Traffic's been crazy around here. Something about chicken.
Introducing Hardee's new fried chicken.
Good and juicy.
I love the taste. I love the crunchy chicken.
How does it compare to KFC original recipe?
This is better than Kentucky Fried because it's tastier. I don't ever buy Kentucky Fried anymore.
Come on down to Hardee's. Find out why it's preferred over KFC original recipe 63 to 37.
Sorry about that. It's the truth.
And now, here's a deal that'll really blow you away. 8 pieces of Hardee's new fried chicken are now only $6.99, including 4 free biscuits.
Experience the difference.
You fill me with wonder. You're simple as can be. You're always a comfort. You set my spirit free. You're the part of me that's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
Edith, we thank you for joining us. You're here with Todd, who's 10. Thank you so much for being here. You were married for 10 years.
Yes.
It was not a picnic.
It was not, no. He drank
Did you
a lot.
listen in on Linda?
We listened to this, and Todd nodded his head the whole way through.
Because there are similarities.
There are.
Tell me.
There are. The emotional abuse. My husband was not physically abusive, but being an alcoholic, we rode his alcoholic highs and lows.
Mm-hmm.
And
so he was verbally abusive.
He was abusive at times.
What led then to you actually commit? You shot your husband.
Yes, I did.
And kindly tell this audience the circumstances that led to that.
Well, I have epilepsy, and I had had a seizure. My best friend and my husband were taking care of me. When I was in this marriage, anytime I would have a grand mal, they would pump me full of Valium. It's not something I take now. They would get the Valium from his mother and give it to me. They were taking care of me. And they flirted a lot while I was sick, and they were taking care of me.
Is your husband?
Mm-hmm.
And did you say... Is your best friend, is she not?
Used to be my best friend.
And you noticed them flirting.
I could hear them when I was trying to rest in bed. I could hear them flirting, and I had let them know before. You know, we were real close, all three of us, but I had told them, you know, to knock off the flirting.
Right. And what happened?
Well, we went to the house because her husband was coming in. It was the day before Christmas Eve, and he came in wanted to have sex with me. And
who did?
And I, you know,
your husband.
I was sick.
Right.
And I was in bed. And I said, you know, just look, I've been listening to y'all flirt. Just go have sex with me. Okay? And I didn't, I mean, I was under 60 milligrams of Valium. Right. Okay? Right. Anyway, they did. They did. And then, they came back, and then they got in bed with me. I woke up the next morning, and I saw my husband naked on one side of me and my best friend naked on the other side of me, and I panicked. I looked down, oh my God, are my clothes on, you know? And I wasn't sure what was going on. And the next thing I knew, when they saw that I was awake, they woke up and started touching me. And thank God the telephone rang right then. He had taken my hand and placed it on her. And I had been abused as a child, and this just, I mean, it just completely blew me away. And when I started, you know, coming out of the Valium haze, and she answered the telephone, it was her husband. He said he's on the outskirts of town. She said, oh, thank you for the Christmas present, Edith. And I said, what did I give you, you know? And she said, you know. And I said, well, Merry Christmas.
Then what happened?
And then what happened?
I'm almost afraid to ask you. This is only an hour show.
Okay, yeah. Well, we drove to Houston for Christmas, and I'm saying, what happened, tell me what happened. So he told me what happened. In the next 2 weeks, I was begging for an apology, trying to make him understand that they were taking care of me. They would not let me grocery shop. They would not let me do anything. Right. And so there, you know, but they took me at my word on this.
Yes, but what led to the shooting?
He
this
would not
audience
apologize.
Can't wait.
He wouldn't apologize. And the last thing he did, he said, you know, Dana's a slut, and you can't see her anymore. He said, and matter of fact, he said, he said, it's happened, it's done, it's over with, and he said, it was good, and you can't do anything about it. And I said, well, I'm going to kill you. I said, don't come home in the dark tomorrow night, because I'll be waiting for you with a gun. And he came home the next night, and I was waiting for him with a gun, sitting on a bench outside with a .22 rifle.
And he comes in his car.
He came in, he walked up the pathway, he got to the tree that I had marked off to shoot him at. I'm an excellent shot. The bullet went right through his cigarette package. If his heart would have been in the right place, I'd have killed him.
So you put a bullet hole in his cigarette package and his chest?
In his chest.
One shot?
One shot went straight through.
And he drops immediately?
He flew backwards 5 feet. I was surprised. But it was a single shot, and I had to reload. And he could hear me reloading.
Yes.
He could hear me reloading, and so he got up off the ground, took the gun away, and drove himself as far as he could and begged someone to call an ambulance.
And he gets to the hospital?
He gets to the hospital.
And they save his life?
And they save his life.
And he's not paralyzed?
And nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just...
Right. What happened to you?
Nothing.
You didn't do time for this?
The police came out to my house. They said, ma'am, what happened out here tonight? And I said, well, I caught my husband in bed with my best friend and I shot him. And they said, was there anything we can do for you?
This is all true story.
That's right. They went and got the car that he took and brought it back to me so I would have...
Were you charged with anything?
No. Never.
And have you divorced this man?
Yes.
And has Todd had any counseling as a result of being in the environment of this kind of drama? No.
Yes.
He has?
Yes.
And you've been separated from Todd's father now for how long?
Since this happened in 1989. Since 1990, we have not lived together.
You are divorced, are you not?
Yes, yes.
Do you see your father, Todd?
Yes, sir, sometimes.
You see him sometimes? Once a month? Twice a year?
See him every other week.
Oh, you do? And this is a arranged custody arrangement. And you enjoy being with your dad?
Yes, sir.
And you knew about this? Who told you about that your mom shot your dad?
I was upstairs doing my homework for the first time.
And you heard the shot, did you?
Yes, sir.
You heard a gunshot, and you knew right away what it was.
Well, I told him to go upstairs. I was going to shoot their dad.
You told him this?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Are you concerned at all about the emotional consequences of this?
Oh, yes. I felt horrible after. I did not have a right to take another person's life, regardless of what he had done to me. I had to do a lot of soul searching. I thought I would never be able to protect myself or my children again.
Mm-hmm.
I felt, you know, when I saw my husband in bed, I thought, you know, I didn't have a right to do that.
Yeah. What is it that made you the angriest? Something he said. I mean, first of all, we understand you're being angry at his being intimate with your best friend, and she is no longer your best friend.
No.
We understand all this, and you're also an epileptic, and you were under the influence of a lot of Valium, and so they were really taking
advantage of me.
Well, you were a rag doll at this time.
That's right.
So when you come to and find out what happens, he said something to you that really pushed you past the limit. What was that?
That was just that it was good. And he had no...
That's what did it
It
for
was
you.
my fault, he said. The whole thing was my fault.
If he had apologized, would you still have shot him?
No.
All you wanted was an apology?
All I wanted for him to do was admit his culpability. That, you know,
just
that
wanted him to
this was his...
apologize?
I wanted him to tell me that he was wrong.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is not over.
No.
When we come back, you'll meet a woman whose spouse flew into a rage and shot her 5 times in front of their daughter. So while you're, looking in, and these giggles have to do with this is just, this
That's
makes us
okay.
nervous even to.
We laugh about it too. We do.
Where'd this happen?
Texas.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be legal, to shoot the old lady if you found her in bed with another man. That's no longer the case, however, in Texas.
No.
So you can't shoot, people like that. But you did no time.
No.
No fines.
No charge.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
After thousands of years, psychics and astrologers have concluded that the moon, stars, and planets create a force which impacts your life. Today, psychics and astrologers have learned the techniques to analyze these forces and provide accurate advice about your past, present, and future. Call now. Speak directly to a genuine psychic. Get the answers to your most personal questions. See what the planets have in store for you regarding love, money, happiness, and your future. Call today to be prepared for tomorrow.
If you're not pregnant, I will not get up in the middle of the night, get no more cans of pears, a single slice of bologna.
We know it'll happen one day. If it doesn't happen right now, it'll happen one day. We're pretty patient. We're pregnant.
Let me see. See, I kind of thought she was, all right?
New EPT, the fastest one-step test.
Join Dave and his special guests.
Here's what it's like. It's like a party, but nobody calls the cops.
Tonight on CBS.
They're arriving 1 month early. Hundreds of extra cars and trucks fulfill Long Nissan's giant new location.
But it's still under construction.
To make room, 200 new Nissans reduced to $1 over invoice, plus 2.9 financing.
Sentra's well-equipped, $1 over invoice.
Colorado's favorite Pathfinder and Nissan trucks, $1 over invoice.
Plus save big on the all-new Maxima.
We'd rather sell them now than move them to the new location.
200 new Nissans, $1 over invoice, plus 2.9.
Right now at Phil Long Nissan.
Care for dessert? Or a little coffee?
At Country Buffet, you get desserts and beverages for no extra charge. For some folks, that's the icing on the cake. Come on into Country Buffet, where you get really good food, including desserts and beverages for one low price.
Located in Colorado Springs by Walmart. Try our new location in Pueblo.
Here we go. Boy, I'll tell you what, if we are to take these stories as any indication of what's happening, this is not a controlled study, but the evidence is pretty overwhelming that there's an awful lot of hostile aggressive, verbal, put down, terrible things happening inside people's houses. And it's it's often, not always, but usually the man who is abusing the woman. That was the case in your house, Lillian. You were married for 10 years. Your husband actually put you in the hospital with physical abuse?
Yes, I've had blood clots on the brain, fractures, you know, complete fractures all over the body. He beat me so bad when Erica was 2 years old, when I regained consciousness. She was on my back, biting his legs, you know, trying to keep him from kicking me. And
there's at least, you actually spent 84 days in the hospital. A nonstop, that was for one injury?
Right.
I do notice, I don't want to say something that's there if it isn't, but there, you know, there are some legacy. Do you have scars as a result of?
Through, you know, my stomach and legs.
And you stayed with him because?
I was scared. I left him several times and filed for divorce several times, but he would come and get me. And I knew he would kill me if I didn't go back with him.
Did he threaten to kill you?
All the time. He's held guns to my head several times.
And he was especially volatile when you left him?
Right.
If you don't come back, I'll kill you.
He broke into my house and took a butcher knife and cut up everything I owned.
Yes. And then it was, if I can't have you, nobody else will. I mean, if he didn't say that, don't say he did.
He did.
He said that? And did he physically abuse you?
No, just emotional.
Emotionally. You were there when all this was happening. Well, what happened? Tell us about the shooting.
Okay, in July of '84, my father passed away, and we were at his funeral. And we had just left the funeral, or in the funeral procession, and we were divorced at the time. We'd been divorced for almost a year and a half. And when we left the funeral, Erica was in the back seat with my boyfriend and me. He blocked the funeral procession, jumped out, and shot me 5 times. And shot my husband once, with Erica in the car with us.
Shot your then boyfriend? You were not married to him at the time?
Right.
You had been separated from your husband for about how long at that time?
We had been divorced probably a year and a half.
And had you heard from him during that divorce time?
Oh, he always called and, you know,
said things like, come back to me, I'm sorry. He did plead, did he not?
Yeah.
Or did he? I don't know.
He did, and I would be at work or something. He would just move back in, and the babysitter would call and say, hey, he's moved his stuff in. What do I do? And I'd have to call the police, you know, to make him leave again.
You're pulling out of the funeral home parking lot. You probably got your flag and everything?
Yes.
This is the funeral of
my father.
Your dad. Did he ram the car you were in?
Yeah, he was like in a Hardee's restaurant parking lot. And he pulled out from there, and he just stopped his car. Then we crashed into him. And I saw him jump out, and I said, oh, my God, he's got a gun. And he came up to the car and hung his body inside the car and started shooting me.
He said nothing to you?
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, I bet you can't.
But Erica was sitting on, she climbed up on top of me and was holding the gun, fighting him, and was holding it when he shot me twice.
You would have been 6 years old at the time.
I just turned 7. It was right after my birthday.
And your mother is shot 5 times? Got everything but your heart, didn't he?
Every organ in my body was hit but my heart.
All torso wounds, that right? Nothing to the head?
None.
No paralysis after this?
None. I was supposed to never walk again or anything.
Yeah? What happens to him?
He was given 11 years. He went up for parole in 2.5 and got out. But the 2.5 years were spent in VA hospitals. He spent 2 weeks in a boot camp and the rest of the time in VA hospitals.
He was in the VA hospital because?
He claimed the Vietnam syndrome.
And that he needed hospitalization, not prison.
Right.
And he got it?
He got it.
Is he a free man now?
Yes, he lives in the same town in Kentucky that my mother lives in now.
Are you afraid of him?
Always. He doesn't know where we live. We moved around for like 5 years to keep him from finding us.
And how are you recovering from this, emotionally speaking? I ask you, Erica, you're 16. Wow, we can only wonder whether you're going to be able to, how difficult it would be for you to have a relationship with a man. I don't want to be an amateur analyst here. You know, nothing, it's not doesn't necessarily follow that you'll never be able to, you know. You can't, you know, don't expect it to happen, but do you feel it?
Yes.
You do?
I have a lot of frustration. I'm really angry all the time.
Eric and I fight with each other because we just, you know, there's just so much there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're close, but it's like we try to take it out on each other.
Yeah. You remarried.
Yes, I did.
And he's fabulous.
Yes, he is.
And you love him.
Yes.
And so do you.
There was one other miracle after I married Dennis. I had another child after being shot. She is now 8 years old.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment.
$55. It's the law.
The response here at Pueblo Dodge Volkswagen has been so overwhelming that we've continued $55 down, $55 a month on any car, truck, or van in our massive inventory. Like this 94 Volkswagen Golf, this 93 Fox, this 94 Corrado, or this 94 Jetta. All for $55 down, $55 a month. Call us today. 545-6666. Or better yet, come on down to Pueblo Dodge Volkswagen.
Cliff here at IHOP. Lately, people have been saying, Cliff, you spend entirely too much time at IHOP.
Hi, Cliff.
Sorry I'm late. Oh, sure, I drop by once in a while for the weekday breakfast deals. I mean, I'm talking real breakfast here. And I'm in and out of here in no time. Morning, Cliff. Hi, Harry. But I really don't spend that much time here. Bill.
Try the Passport Breakfast for only $2.99. 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 sausage, and 2 international-style pancakes, only $2.99. Monday through Friday, anytime, excluding holidays.
Carpet Clearance Warehouse has a new Rugged Rider. His name's Jerry Michael, and he's getting ready to receive $5,000. Jerry entered the Carpet Clearance Warehouse drawing and won $5,000 for his favorite charity, Silver Key Senior Services, dedicated to assisting the elderly. You can win $5,000 for your church or favorite charity, too.
Is anybody counting?
No purchase is necessary to win. Enter at any Carpet Clearance Warehouse location, Hancock and Academy, Vickers and Academy, or in Pueblo at 6 and Elizabeth. The Rugged Riders will have their next draw on May 28th.
3 reasons why you should call Norton Fricke & Associates if you've been hurt in a car accident. 1. Insurance companies have lawyers to protect their interests. So should you. 2. We've helped accident victims get the compensation they deserve for many years. And 3, most importantly, for them.
Call Norton Fricke & Associates at 635-7131. Put 15 years of experience to work for you.
For a transcript of Donahue, send $3 to Journal Graphics, 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203. Or call 303-831-9000. To order a video cassette for only $24.95, just call 1-800-FOR-VIDEO.
This is Geraldine Dover. Same situation. You're listening? You're watching these people?
Yes, I was listening. And I heard the audience laughing. You know, domestic violence is nothing.
I beg you to know, Miss Dover, yes, that this audience has no disrespect and total empathy for what these folks have been through. We did give ourselves permission to giggle at what appeared to be almost comedic. It was so awful it was comedic, and it is in no way personal. I beg you to know that. This audience agrees with you that there are far too many women being beaten up out there, and they're not laughing at anybody. Please believe that. In your case, please listen to this story now. You had a similar, he was fabulous when you married him.
I wasn't married to him. We lived together.
When you started to live together.
Right, and he abused me for many years. I tried to escape. The shelters and everyone turned me away because I wasn't married to this man. And plus another thing, he was not of my same race.
He's a white guy, was he?
Yes.
Is he? Yes. Tell me why that's germane, Geraldine.
Because his mother was sick. I was helped taking care of his mother, and she felt to pay me back was to award me her son. And because he was abusing her also. And so the domestic violence, you know, the fighting the police, they come out, they wouldn't do anything because he said, they'll believe a white man before they believe you.
Yes, that's been said before, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Excuse me, but he used to wait outside your work, did he?
He used to sleep in the car and wait for me on my job. And he used to sleep with a .38 across his chest.
And why?
He stalked me because he was obsessed with me. He was extremely jealous.
He wanted to know if you were going to walk outside with another man.
Right.
Were you ever, would you talk to another?
No, I wouldn't talk to anyone.
No, but that's what he wanted.
Because I learned a feeling of helplessness and hopelessness and powerless.
Yes.
And this is because of I had a low self-esteem, and this man had a low self-esteem, and it lowered my self-esteem.
Did you finally give him the boot, and that's what...
When I kicked him out, he slashed 3 of my tires to make sure I couldn't go anywhere. So I did get my tires fixed, and my sister at that time is a quadriplegic where her boyfriend broke her neck. She's a quad. My mother is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, so I was taking care of my mother and my sister, and he said, I don't want you to take care of those, quote, N-word on the southeast end.
So he used a racist word to describe you?
Yes, and I despise that N-word.
Right.
And that's a form of power and control.
No question about it.
And then what happened, I fled from my home, and I bought a gun earlier, and I had it in my car. It was unloaded, and it was under the driver's seat. But when I arrived at my mother's home, I'd taken the gun out of the car, and I'd taken it into my mother's home, where I had to take my sister to the hospital for therapy.
Right.
And then he found me there at my mother's home, and he said, I will kill all of these bees in this home if you don't come out. And so I said, they're helpless, because my father wasn't there. He was at work. So I went outside to see what he wanted. He started beating me. He hit me in my head, and it just seemed like I snapped. And therefore, I went into my mother's home, where I'd taken the gun out of the car, where I found it under the passenger seat.
Yes.
And I went outside, and I grabbed the gun, what I'd taken inside, and I ran back into the house, and I came back outside with the gun, and I pointed it at the car.
Was it loaded?
I didn't know. And he said, you're one stupid. And I didn't realize the gun barrel was open. And then I closed it when he said, you're one stupid because you didn't know how to use the gun. So I closed it, and I aimed it at the car, and it started firing. It's like I was no longer in control. The person that I am, so passive at that point, it seemed like this aggressive woman merged from nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you hold the gun with 2 hands?
No, I held it with 1 hand. I remember just aiming it, and they said the gun was firing, but I remember him saying to me, if you kill me, I'll come back for you. And the car was out of control, and I remember leaning over into the car and pointing the gun to his thigh, and I pulled that trigger.
How many times? I'm sorry,
I pulled the trigger 1 time, and that's when the car spun again out of control, and it landed in a little kiddie ground where kids were playing. And I leaned over, and when I leaned over into the car to see, was he all right, I saw these red specks in the back of his shirt and his blue eyes staring up at me, and I saw, I have shot Jim. So I ran back to my mother's house. I called the ambulance. I said, there's a white man shot in the black neighborhood. They was there within 5 minutes. So I was trying to call the police department, Canton PD, but their line was busy.
Canton, Ohio?
Canton, Ohio, Stark County. I called their office, and their line was busy. So I called the sheriff, and I said, I shot my ex-boyfriend. I said, why isn't the police, why are their line busy? He said, well, baby, there's a big shooting down there on the southeast end. I said, well, they're looking for me. And I said, never mind, I see one of your guys outside. And so I surrendered the gun, and I refused to leave the scene until he get professional help. But he didn't die.
How many times did you shoot him?
I can recall 1 time. But the records show that I shot him, well, the gun discharged 5 times.
And all the bullets entered his body?
Yes, and when it came down to it, my bullets were still intact in my case. It was his bullets that's in my gun. He used hollow point bullets. So all those fragments that's in his body is his bullets.
Right. He lives.
He lives, and I had to take care of him for 6 months.
The judge says to you, you shot him. My sentence is that he shall live with you and you shall care for him.
The judge granted me permission because he was dying, and his request was for me to see him. And so the judge said, I will grant you to go see him, and then that's when I was trapped to take care of him, because the day I went to see him, he had a trachea, he had tubes in every part of his body.
He's also partially paralyzed, is he not?
He's a paraplegic. And he spit on me through his trachea. He said, you did this, you're going to take care of me. and he spit on me.
Uh-huh. And you lived with the man as his caretaker for how many months?
6 months.
And then, because it's either that or jail.
They
Is
were
that
going
right?
to get, all right, attempted murder to an aggravated assault. They said this will help my case if I take care of him. But no one cared about me, my welfare.
Right. After 5 or 6 months of this, what'd you do?
I asked the judge to send me to prison because he told me, he said, baby, they're gonna just let you stay on probation for 3 years and you can still take care of me and your little brown babies. I asked the judge to send me. He was going to give me probation, 5 years on probation on paper. And I said no, because Dr. Lynn Rosewater was my psychologist that helped me on this case.
Yes.
And she's a national expert. But what happened after I was sentenced, after I asked the judge to sentence me,
yes.
I served sentenced for 12 months. I served 8 months and 13 days. But this man still contacted me through the prison. It's saying that the attorney, Lee Fisher, was going to pay him $50,000 for victims of crime. They never once viewed me as a victim, just him. But he was the perpetrator all along. But they did award him money.
When you got out, you formed an organization called Battered Women as Survivors. And we'll talk about that, where your husband is now, how you're doing, when we come back in just a moment.
The age-old concept of one vitamin fits all has just been one-upped. Introducing today's One-A-Day, the only multivitamin with a range of 5 scientifically balanced formulas for different needs. Now there's a One-A-Day for women with more calcium. 55 plus with extra antioxidants which may reduce cell damage. Plus 3 more formulas designed for who you are and how you live. Now the first name in vitamins introduces a new line of vitamins. One-A-Day. We've got the one for you.
If you're not shopping at Ross,
You're paying too much for name brand clothing.
if you're not shopping at Ross,
You could be spending twice as much at department stores for the exact same items.
if you're not shopping at Ross,
You're missing unbelievable savings every day.
if you're not shopping at Ross,
You're paying too much.
and who wants to do that?
Well, the sun comes up, I jump out of my bed. Dreams of my Chevy truck fresh in my head.
There's never been a better time to get down the road in a new limited edition S-Series pickup. Just look at that price. Only $199 a month. Right now, buy a new limited S-Series and get a set of KC highlights and 4 tickets to the Pikes Peak Auto Hill Climb at no additional charge. Quit dreaming about that truck and come get one. Hurry to your Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Southern Colorado Chevy GO dealer.
The demand for computer-assisted design drafters is increasing. Technical Trades Institute can train you for a career in drafting and CAD design today. TTI offers an advanced curriculum with individualized instruction in the latest CAD programs, including AutoCAD. The future of drafting is CAD, and TTI can start you on your way to a career in drafting today. Start your career with an associate's degree in architectural or mechanical drafting. Call 632-7626 or visit TTI at 2315 East Pikes Peak.
Gun control. It may be the most volatile issue of our time. Just how effective are efforts to keep guns out of the hands of the wrong people? Join reporter Diane Kent as she tracks the life of a gun, beginning Tuesday, only on 11 News.
Geraldine, where is your ex-live-in friend?
All right, he's still living in Stark County. He did find me where I relocated in Columbus, Ohio, where I'm the founder and the executive director of Battered Women as Survivors. We extend service to battered women who kill, who retaliate. We also extend service to battered women who are disabled. We have a young lady that was shot 5 times in the police station. Now she's paralyzed from the waist down. We including block paroles. Make sure these guys, these monsters do not get back on the street to intimidate these girls.
You said he found you. And why is what is the consequence of that?
Well, he was married, and he had his wife to call me, and he has a thing for black women. And he said, I want Jerry back because she's taking good care of me. But only one thing, she's just not dark enough.
So we have a very strange, racist kind of serpent running around his head here, in addition to a lot of other things. In any event, you did 8 months. And you're out now.
Yes.
He is crippled for the rest of his life. And you want to save other women from this nightmare.
Absolutely, from the same things that I experienced. Not only society discriminate against your race, your gender, your education, now you're an ex-offender. All those are negative things, because if it happened to me, it's happened to other women too. So we try to take those negatives and make them positive. And the most part that's discriminating against on work job sites is not only about your race, but it's about you being an ex-offender. People do not give you a fair chance. They do not want to hear about, oh, you're a battered woman. Why didn't you get out of the situation? They don't understand the feeling of hopelessness and helplessness and powerless.
Well, they're starting to, thanks to people like you. When we come back, I want Linda to share with us what you've heard here. We'll do that when we come back in just a moment.
Pure natural aloe. Is there anything better to soothe summer dry skin?
An update from Vaseline Research.
Vaseline scientists created a lotion that works better and longer than aloe alone.
Joan, to moisturize effectively, you'd need 9 applications of aloe a day, compared to just 1 application of Vaseline Intensive Care Aloe and Lanolin.
That soft, silky skin all day long.
Vaseline Intensive Care Aloe and Lanolin. From intensive research comes intensive care.
Get 1 month's cooler rental and 15 gallons free. For delivery, call Deep Rock at 579-6550.
Next time you make iced tea, read the fine print. Look familiar? Look closer. For perfect tea, serve steaming hot. If you're making iced tea with regular Lipton, that's not so hot. Now look at Louisiane. All Louisiane tea is specially blended for iced tea. That's why Louisiane's so delicious, so refreshing. Louisiane, specially blended for great iced tea every time.
Louisiane, the right tea for iced tea.
What would you expect for $7.99? How about any medium pizza from Pizza Hut? Because right now, Pizza Hut is giving you any medium pizza with any toppings for just $7.99. It's incredible. It's the unbeatable Pizza Hut deal. That's any toppings, any crust, any medium pizza, just $7.99. What else would you expect from Pizza Hut?
Well, the sun comes up, I jump out of my bed. Dreams of my Chevy truck fresh in my head.
If you're looking for value, you're talking full-size work truck. Look at that price, just $222 a month for 24 months.
Don't know other trucks seem to have what it takes. Ooh, sells my new Chevrolet.
Hey, quit dreaming about that Chevy and come get one. Hurry to your Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Southern Colorado Chevy Geo dealer today.
Seven of the hottest hunks from your favorite soaps, like Patrick Muldoon, J. Eddie Peck, and more. Next, Donahue.
My husband is trying to kill me is the story of Linda Da Silva's nightmare. We wish all of you folks a happy, happy life in the future, and we thank you for sharing these very personal and painful moments with us. Join me in thanking these guests for
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
You want regular Swiss cheese with all that fat and sodium? No. I'm giving you Alpine Lace Reduced Fat Swiss cheese because I care how you and you eat.
Ginsana, for active people. The only ginseng product scientifically tested for 25 years. All natural, no caffeine. Ginsana, for active people.
Guest accommodations provided by the Hotel Maclo. Experience style and sophistication for business or leisure. The New York Times says the interiors are among the city's most impressive. For reservations, call 1-800-MACK-LOW.
Okay, your junker died, then you need wheels. The brand new Eagle Summit Coupe with fun-to-drive 5-speed manual and available 1.8-liter engine. But if that's too sporty and you need more room, there's always the